Hey guys, today I have some makeup fails for you. I don't make these videos often, so I've amassed quite a few things here. Let's go ahead and just get started. We're going way back, and I'm sure I've already talked about this first product, about how it doesn't work and how I tried it so many different ways, and I'm still confused as to why they would call this a bronzer and highlight duo. But this is from Chanel, and this came out many months ago. They came out with two shades. This is light, and then they had a medium. The medium was fine, and I am definitely on the fairer side. So of course I had ordered this one first. Even though I saw the pictures, I thought, you know what, maybe they know something I don't know. Maybe this will work on my skin tone once I get it on my skin. No, not at all. This is supposed to be a bronze. You tell me who that is supposed to bronze. Who is that supposed to bronze? Even if you are incredibly white, let's say you are like paper lily white, all this will do is give you a peachy tone to your skin. Bronze, it will not do. This will not bronze anyone or anything. This is just not a bronze. So maybe if they called this something else, it would have made more sense, but no. I got the medium. The medium is fine. The medium is fine. You guys know I've talked about it since. I think that's appeared in favorites. It's gorgeous. I love this formula. I love Chanel. You guys know I love Chanel, but this was just not, it just wasn't. The highlight is fine. The highlight is nice. It's very subtle. It's very pretty. This is a whole waste of nothing. And I tried using it as regular powder. No, I tried using it as blush. No, this side just doesn't work as anything for me. So I'm sorry, Chanel, but this was definitely a fail for you. Oh, I actually have two Chanel products in here. You guys know I love Chanel, but hey, we got to call it the way we see it. So this one is their Longwear eyeshadow primer. I purchased this a long time ago, and I tried it and I was like, it's okay. You know, it's fine. And then I kept trying it, I kept using it, and I was like, you know what? This product is stupid, because all it does is it feels like you put just a little bit of silicone on your eyelids, but like not enough. If you have like texture on your eyelids, it's not enough for that. It's silicone, so it's very slippy, so there's no tack to it, so it's not going to help with the longevity of your eyeshadow. So it's just a really like non-product. It really just isn't enough of anything to do anything. I just feel like this ended up making my eyeshadows perform worse than they did. So definitely not a fan of this. And it's colorless too, so it doesn't do any camouflaging either. It just really is a very kind of like useless product. So that is the Chanel Longwear Eye Primer. Not a fan. Definitely not a fan. Okay, that's it for Chanel. Let's move on to Dior. So this I purchased quite some time ago because I was really smitten with the color, and you guys will know why when I show it to you. This is their lacquer stick in 522 Bronze Chic. And this was a limited edition color. I don't even think you can get it anymore, but it's this amazing like duochrome lip color. So it's like gold, and then it goes to like a pinky peach. It's just really cool. I fell in love with this shade. I just thought that was so fantastic. When I got home and put it on my lips, this fragrance is so nauseating to me. It's a mixture of floral and like birthday cake. It's like both, which makes it smell so synthetic. It was so gross to me. I had to wipe it off immediately, and I thought, okay, maybe it's just something I have to get used to. I put it on again, and it just, oh, it's terrible. And I feel like it's faded at this point, but when I first got it, like when I first opened it up in the box, I could smell it before I even put it on. So it was strong. It's faded now. I don't know. Maybe I can use it now. No, I can still smell it. It's just not a pleasant fragrance. I really just don't like it at all. So unfortunately, this was a fail for me. Okay, so the next fail I actually talked about on a live stream I did with the Half Cousins podcast here. We were talking about products that had not worked out for us. And so I've thrown these out since, but I will flash a picture up here of them for you. These were the Patrick Ta highlighting sprays. These were the ones that came in the aerosol can, not his Glisten body oil, not that. The ones that came in the can. That was terrible. It was absolutely terrible. If you wanted to get it where you wanted to get it, you had to spray it fairly close to you. And then you got this like crazy streak of highlight. If you wanted a nice kind of wash of it, you had to hold it pretty far back from where you were, and then it basically ended up all over your face. So then you have this fan that he sold. I have the fan. The fan is cute. I like the fan. But he used the fan to kind of block areas of your face when you do this whole spraying action. Now, I'm sorry. I only have 2 hands. I'm not a makeup artist. I don't have assistants. I'm not a celebrity sitting in a chair with someone with 6 pairs of hands doing all this for me. If I just want highlight here, I need 2 fans, and then I need to then spray it from like 3 feet away. I'm unclear as to how that is supposed to work. Also, when I was like, okay, if I don't mind it all over my cheek, and let's say I just hold it up here so that it doesn't end up, on my forehead and my eyes and my eyebrow, I hold it up here and then like I can't see what I'm doing. It was just a mess. And then I thought, okay, let me put it onto a sponge. But there's something about the formula of it. Like if you think about metallic spray paint, let's talk about metallic spray paint. Let's say you put that onto a sponge. When you like press that onto your skin, you're going to see that sponge texture. Okay, first off. And then you think you can blend it, but then it doesn't blend. It just kind of moves around. Maybe it just didn't work with whatever makeup I was trying it on over. But I did try it like that with the sponge. I kept thinking you must be able to work with it with a sponge. Like, why wouldn't that work? But all it would do is just kind of like move itself. It was just weird, and it just didn't sit right on my skin, and it was just awful. On top of that, the stupid cans leaked. So if you had them on its side, which I did in its shipping box for a little while, the whole can leaked. So there wasn't even that much product to begin with. And then like half of it leaked out, and it was such a mess. And no matter how many times I wiped it down, it was still oily feeling. It was just bad. The packaging is bad. The delivery is bad. I think it's really meant for like your body. And I wish that they had just marketed it more for the body, because then I would not have been sitting there trying to put it on my face with 10,000 fans, whatever. I think it would work for the body. I am not someone that wears body makeup often, if ever. I like to think that occasionally I am the person that would love to highlight my shoulders or something, but the truth is it just doesn't really happen very often. And if they had just marketed it as a body highlighter, I would not have purchased it. So anyway, that was a major fail. Major fail. Everything else from Patrick Ta, I love. I love his lip glosses. The body oil, I have not purchased, but I did try in store. I kind of like sprayed some on my arm and I loved it. But then I reminded myself that I'm not that person that wears body makeup, so I put it down. And I'm very excited for his new releases. I will probably be purchasing them during the VIB sale. The blushes, the cream glosses, and the lip liners. I'm very excited for those. So I'm definitely going to be picking them up. I'm very excited for those. But the highlighter in a can, not so good. Okay, I just wanted to mention the Kevyn Aucoin foundation balm. It was a balm for me. And it just looked so makeup-y on my face. No matter how little I used, it just looked super heavy and cakey and thick. Now, if you watched my video, you saw it in action. It did not work. The comments rolled in, you used too much, this and that. Okay, so I tried to use a little bit less. No, it just did not work for me. It didn't work for my skin type. It definitely was not for me. And when I did my tidying up my room, you saw me actually get rid of that. So I tossed that out. Not a fan of that foundation balm. I've beaten this dead horse to the ground. So let's move on. All right, let's talk about Pat McGrath. Okay, you guys know I love Pat McGrath. Love her as an artist, as a makeup artist, as a beauty icon. She is amazing. I love 99% of her stuff. But I did not like her powder and her primer when she came out with it. The primer, I thought, actually made the foundation look worse on my skin. It was almost like the Chanel eye primer. It just felt like this kind of like soft silicone-y thing. And it did absolutely nothing for the foundation except make it look a little patchy. And I didn't like that. I liked the foundation on other primers. I like the foundation on my bare skin. I think it actually looks pretty nice. The primer on my skin ruined her foundation, so I did not like that at all. And then her powder was not great. Every other powder I have talked about on this channel beat that powder out by far. The Koga No Natural Lighting Powder, the By Terry Tinted Hyaluronic Hydra Powders, the La Prairie powder, even with its intense fragrance and all, was better than the Pat McGrath. The Chanel loose powder, like I have a ton of loose powder that is so much better than the Pat McGrath powder. I don't know what it was about that powder. I felt like it made my skin look very, very dry. I felt like it didn't do much for my skin at all, except make it look dry by the end of the day. It just did absolutely nothing. And the packaging, I usually like a netted top to my powders, but the secret to netting, because it's bouncy, there needs to be like enough space between the netting and the powder so that when you press the netting down, like the tip of your brush or whatever you're using only gets a little bit of the powder, so that the netting is kind of just sifting the powder. The Pat McGrath, it was like the powder was coming out of the netting before you used any of it. It was like all over the place. The netting was far too close to the actual powder, so that there was just no room for you to use the netting in its proper way. I hated it. I hated the packaging. I hated the actual powder. Just not a fan. And her latest Chroma Luxe highlight creams. I really wanted to like these. Now, this is from Pat McGrath, so I knew I was not getting any, subtle highlight. I knew I wasn't getting like a really kind of like gentle, everyday kind of highlight. I knew that these were going to be micro glittery. I knew that they were going to be very editorial. I knew that they were going to be, high shine and kind of like out of this world, intergalactic, the whole Pat McGrath thing. I was prepared for that. So it's not the shade or the colors per se. It's the actual formula of these and the packaging, actually. So the packaging comes in these stupid, teeny tiny metal tubes. Now, I appreciate the retro look for these metal tubes, but the problem is, because there's usually air bubbles inside, when you are using a metal tube, the product comes out, it just comes out slowly, constantly, all the time. And it's very, very, like this is coming out, very, very slowly, but it is coming out like constantly. And it's so annoying because you have to like race to put the cap back on. So that's what I don't like about the packaging. I don't know why it needs to be in a metal tube, whatever. What I don't like the most is the formula. The formula sets down way too quickly. So here you have this super like high shine, semi crazy kind of highlight color. I'm just going to put some right here. So this is the blue one, the Astral Blue. So there, I don't know if you can see, but it goes on kind of like patchy. It's not very smooth. And then because it sets down, you can't blend it so that it's smooth. All you end up doing is kind of like moving it around, and then it's still kind of patchy. So I don't know if I'm using it incorrectly. I tried it by, tapping my fingers and then using my fingers, because I know Pat McGrath really likes to use her fingers. So I was doing that. Nothing. It was like, you would tap some of the product on, and no matter what you did, your original taps were always like there. Then I tried it with a sponge, same issue. I felt like actually I was moving more of the product that way with the sponge. I tried it with a brush. All I ended up with just was like micro glitter everywhere. These are very micro glittery, by the way. And once it does set down, the micro glitters actually will migrate as well, which is not my favorite. I don't mind if it's going to be contained. But then when it falls everywhere, no, it's just a hot mess. So not a fan of these Chroma Luxe highlight creams. And then what I unfortunately found out is if you want to return something to Pat McGrath, you can return stuff that's like lightly used or whatever, you have to pay for shipping. Okay, I'll pay for shipping. But it has to be sent by anything other than USPS. Why? For every other way to ship, I need an account. DHL, FedEx, UPS, I need an account. I'm not a business. I don't have an account at those places. It just doesn't make any sense to me, and it's clearly stated in the return policy. If you guys were able to return stuff to Pat McGrath via USPS, will you let me know? Because these will definitely be going back. Okay, I did want to mention this, even though I did kind of mention this in the actual video, but the Victoria Beckham Smoky Eye Brick in Royal. And the only reason why I'm talking about this product is because it showed up smelling like sulfur, like rotten eggs. And I mentioned it in that video, but I did want to mention that they made it right. They said, you know, don't bother sending it back, throw it out, do whatever you want with it. And they just refunded me the money. So bravo to Victoria Beckham Beauty for that. So if you guys got a quad and you think it smells a little bit off, I mean, there really won't be any question to it. This smells like rotten eggs. Just let them know and they will return your money, because that is not right. My other two smoky bricks, the Signature and the Tuxedo, those smell fine. They work fine. They're beautiful. In fact, I really, really like them. But I did just want to mention that, since I had mentioned it in the video that it smelled weird, and I wasn't sure if everyone had seen my follow-up, like pinned comment, or maybe I put it in the description box. But anyway, I did want to mention that they made it right. And then last but not least, kind of breaks my heart. So you guys know I love Sisley, but these mascaras just did not work. So I decided to try their So Volume mascara, which is the latest mascara that they came out with. I did not like it. I thought it was very, very clumpy. And I thought, well, that's just a personal thing. I just happen to not like clumpy mascara. Some people do, as I understand it. I'm just not a fan of it. So I had mentioned it to the sales associate there, and I had purchased like 2 colors, and she was like, well, bring in the color you didn't use and let's exchange it for something else. So I exchanged it for the So Curl mascara, which sounded like one that I would like a little bit more. It was more about curling and like lengthening my lashes versus volume. So I thought, okay, it's going to be not quite as clumpy. It's like just as clumpy as the So Volume. So I was a little bit disappointed in that, because they did actually just kind of appear very, very similar on the lashes. The only difference is the So Curl applicator is curled and the So Volume wand is straight. But that is not my biggest complaint about these mascaras. Again, I understand that, you know, clumpiness is just not my favorite type of mascara. My issue is that both of these flaked on my eyes very, very badly. By the end of the day, I just had little bits of mascara like all over underneath my eyes. Even some had like fallen onto my nose. And I've tried this, you know, many different ways, and I've given them multiple chances, both of these, the So Curl and the So Volume. And they just, every single time they flaked. So definitely did not work out for me. And you guys know how much I love Sisley, but these, not good. All right, so that is it for my fails. I hope you enjoyed this video. Let me know some products that didn't work for you down below. It seems so negative, but let me know if there's some products out there that did not work for you. I would love to hear maybe some products that I should stay clear from. And give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. Subscribe down below if you haven't already, and I'll see you in my next video.